All right, so let's go over Edgeful. This has been a new weapon in my arsenal. It is very simple. It explains everything too. It's very user-friendly and beginner-friendly, yet it still gives you all the vast knowledge that you need as a veteran trader. So right here we have volume, average volume by weekday. This is probably the easiest thing to use. Right now we have Apple. We'll change it to SPY. You can see in the past month, the most volume that we have is on a Friday. We have about 95 million shares bought and sold over volume, and we move about a price range of over $4. You can see as the week goes on in the past month, we get more volatility towards the end. If you change to a 3-month, since the market always changes, like we always say this, we have to adapt to the market. The numbers might be a little bit different. Less volatility on a Tuesday, we can go to a year. And you can see on the year, Thursday's just beating Friday a little bit, but we're pretty consistent that Friday is the biggest day on SPY. It'll tell you the average range, average volume, nice and simple. We can go to NASDAQ, which most of you traders are trading NASDAQ at the moment. Year to date, Wednesday's the biggest day. Monday's coming in close. We have the average price range movement, the average volume through it. Now we can go to the 1 month, see if it changed much. Not really that much. Volume's actually dying down a little bit in this past month on the average Thursday and Friday. Very simple. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, the breakdowns are all here. And they even have videos of average volume and average range by weekday explained. So if you need any more assistance with anything, it's literally right here in a full breakdown YouTube video. But chances are you're not going to need any of this. We also have economic data volume, which is pretty dope too. You can see everything's printed here. The forecast on the news and the breakdown of everything. We also have volume trends. The biggest volume by months in June is obviously one of the biggest right here. January, what we're currently in, is number 2. Number 3 is July. And you can see in August, September, not a lot of people in the market, or a lot of people are usually fearful. As we know that September is one of the worst months in the market in history, known across all years. We have market open volume volatility, the correlations of it. So for example, in the 15-minute open average is around this number. You should look for an average day move and about this volume on the average day. Now, if we're under this level, you can expect a little bit less of a move on the day, a little bit less volume trade, maybe some chop in the market. And you can see where the correlation is. If there's less correlation on the year, the less likely that these numbers will all add up on the moves. So in the year, it's very strong. And then when we come down to this month, it is less correlation just because of all the crazy news. We're also in a bull market. We're at the top of our market. We're making all-time highs. So the market is very confused, and a lot of people are not sure how to trade this. Maybe not a lot of people are selling. Not a lot of people are getting short, obviously, so there's less contracts coming in the overall market around this time compared to the year to date. We can go to price action also, gap fills. Now, these fills are on the day, not on the total time, because obviously a gap will always get filled, whether it's a year later, a month later, but these are filled on the day after. This is specifically made for day traders. So we can see by weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday is the highest weekday of a gap fill. 85% of the gap on a Friday gets filled on NASDAQ. And then we can go to SPY and we can check out SPY. Over this year, we can go and we can see all of this. So now on a Monday, the gap down is a 91% fill rate. Now you add this 91% correlation with your other indicators or however you trade and other confluences through the market, and you can find a good gap fill to the downside. Tuesday's 50-50. I wouldn't consider any of this to be significant then. Friday's a 71%. I would take a look at this, but Monday is where it's at for the gap downs on the past year. Personally, for these things, I would use the 1 month or the 3 month, like I said, because the market always changes, and you can just go through quickly by the day. So the past 3 months, we have not had a gap down on SPY. As you can see, the 100% fill rate. Gap down is not filled ever because we never had a gap down in the past 3 months. You can see on a Friday, the gap up and the gap down is almost filled about 75 to 78%. So you can see we gapped up on a Friday 9 times. We filled it 7 times. We didn't fill it 2 times. We gapped down 4 times. We filled it 3 times, and we did not fill it once. And then the full breakdowns are in here again. We can see green to red days, consecutive green to red streaks, performance trends, FOMC performance, if you guys are interested in that, intraday timing. The average high time is about 12:42. The average low time is about 12:19. This is also on the year. Like I said, I would look for 1 month to 3 months. The times are not too different, so we can look for an average low around 12:06 and an average high around 101. So again, you can mix this with ATR, volume, demand, anything like that. If we're in demand around 12:06, this is another confluence to possibly get long or look for a long entry to then move back up in the market. We also have ATR, which I have a full breakdown of how to use ATR, and we can look at the range on the weekday. I literally have a full video on this, so I'm not going to go into this at all in this video. But again, it all explains over here. SPY, NASDAQ, whatever you want to use. We also have an economic calendar. Pretty simple and straightforward. It has the actual, the forecasted, and the prior on here. You can even hit them with new ideas if you think something would be useful for them. They honestly add everything within a couple of days to a week if you have a good idea, which is pretty nice. But the main thing I do use the gap fills once in a while. I'm not really that interested in that. I mainly use the volume and the ATR indicator. Like I said, you can play around with this. The full breakdowns are in here, and they even have YouTube videos explaining everything more in depth.